You hear that? I said what I said. Alaska Pox was just in Fairbanks, and this dude was outside Fairbanks. So now it's spread beyond Fairbanks.
No.
You ever been to Fairbanks? What a hellhole.
Keep.
You hear that? I said what I said.
The tourism. The tourism endorsement that Jodi just lost for Alaska.
Oh, you could Google Kenai Hot Springs and remind me to tell you a story someday.
What a hellhole, she said.
We got trapped there. I got fired from one of the radio stations that I got fired from, and one of my
Fairbanks?
No, here in Seattle.
Oh.
And one of my best friends said, let's do something. Let's go on a girls' weekend. Let's do something fun. And I said, all right, let's do adventure travel. Let's go somewhere crazy. And I looked around and I found a place called Kenai Hot Springs in Fairbanks. And I was like, let's go to a natural hot springs in Alaska. And she was like, let's go. We were super excited. This was the time of year in Fairbanks where it's twilight all the time. And it was kind of cool to be there and very exciting. And I love adventure travel. So here we are a couple months later in Kenai Hot Springs. We get to the place. It is a dump, an absolute dump.
The town or your hotel?
Our hotel is this hot springs with cabins and a lodge. And all the things that they recommended, all the activities, suddenly seemed very stupid. Like they had this ice lodge, and they were like, you can go into the ice lodge for $10 or for $20 and see an ice tour, and then we'll sell you a souvenir ice glass for $10. And it's like, you're going to sell me a piece of ice for $10? And then all the food was really expensive because there was nothing else around. I should mention that. Took about 40 minutes to get there from the airport, and there's when I say nothing, you got to think more vast than the nothing than you're used to.
Well, it's the wilderness.
Right.
You're in the wild of
and
Alaska.
So everything, it was a dump, and everything was super expensive. We're just at the hot springs, okay?
So the resort?
The resort was a dump.
Was a dump.
I got excited for the natural hot springs because that's what we were there for, and I could learn to live with the $12 peanut butter and jelly sandwich as long as there's this cool hot spring experience. The person who was giving us a tour shows us to the hot springs, looks like a dumpy pool. He says, and I'll never forget this, we just had a cool lunar event, and whenever we have these like full moons or special moons, it happens a couple times a year, lots of people come from Japan to try and get pregnant in the hot springs. So I turned to my friend and I said, you heard that, right? And she's like, yeah. So they're telling us that information. So now we know that this dumpy looking hot pool was just filled with probably 40 couples trying to get pregnant in there. You think I'm going to go in there? I'm not going in there.
Did he follow that up by saying it's clean?
No, he did not say that. And how do you clean a natural hot springs? You can't put chlorine in there.
That's a good point.
He's like, this place gets flooded with people trying to have babies in the hot spring. No thanks. So hot springs out, obviously. Ice tent is out, obviously. Let's go drop our stuff off at our cabin, right? We get to the cabin. Absolutely disgusting rundown. I know I'm bougie when it comes to hotels. I'll admit it. But this, I could do rustic for a couple of days. This was beyond rustic. It was a dry cabin. You know what a dry cabin is? No running water.
Oh.
So there was an outhouse, and he's like, the good news is this is a private outhouse. All right, cool. That is good news. So the next day, we go to the front desk. This is not living up to our expectation. We want to cut the trip short. We'll pay for the day that we were here, but we don't want to stay for 2 more days. He says, we can't get you a car. You have to stay because there's no way to get to the airport.
We can get you a Iditarod. We can get you a dog and a sled.
There's no way to get to the airport. So I'm befuddled. Luckily, we had made friends with this weird dude who took us on an ATV tour, and he goes...
Who just the week earlier was in the hot springs trying to get...
No, he worked there. He's like, I'm going to check my... He said, I have a check, and I'm going to go to Walmart and go cash my check because that's what we all do. I can give you a ride into town if you want. My friend's coming to pick me up. And we were like, yes, let's get the hell out of here. We pack our bags. We say goodbye to the hot springs. Here comes the friend.
Tell me you're riding in the back of a truck.
No, our luggage is in the back of a truck with 2 dead deer. Enter my Samsonite carry-on just covered in blood. The guy had no teeth. He was sipping out of some sort of Gatorade bottle, and it was bright orange, but it was not Gatorade. I don't know what he was drinking. I'll never know. they were like driving us. He goes, hey, I could pull off here if you guys want to see some moose. And I turned to Corey and I was just like, oh, we're going to die. Like, this is where we die. We were like, yeah, let's go see some moose. So they turn off into this weird sort of side area.
Are you nuts?
And there were moose there. So that was really cool. So then we're driving. We're close to the airport. He goes, hey, by the way, listen, my truck is kind of messed up. If I stop it, I can't start it again. So y'all are going to have to jump out. He goes, when we get to the airport, I'm going to go pull in and I'll go really, really slow and you have to jump out and then I'll do a circle and we'll come back and we'll throw you your luggage. So I turned to Corey and I was like, this is where they steal our luggage. But what are we going to do? We're in the truck. We're almost at the airport and we did it. We had to jump out of a moving truck driven by a guy who was high on something. I don't know, but thankful to the guy who we made friends with. And when we got into the airport, I went up to the Alaska Airlines counter and I said to the lady, get me the hell out of here. So did I experience Fairbanks to its fullest? No, I did not. Did I have a terrible experience? Yes, I did.
How much do you want for the rights to that story?
When I'm with my friend Corey and we tell that story.
Because I will buy the rights to that story and make it a movie.
And it's so much more than that even, but I mean, just knowing that we couldn't even get in the hot springs because all the Japanese tourists had just flooded the place trying to make babies.
Literally.
What disgusting person goes, oh, cool, I'll get in too. Like,